Good evening, welcome to BSR TV, welcome to the iRacing Skip Barber series. This is round 10 of season 6 from Summit Point with me, Chris Cohen, joined in a few moments hopefully by Matt Dalton as well. We're back at Summit Point for another round of the Skip Barber series. It's a favourite venue, it seems, on the official Skip Barber calendar, so that's where we're heading this Monday evening. For joining us live, thanks very much for tuning in. We'll have some qualifying for you. We're about 5 minutes into the qualifying session, another 15 minutes to go, and then about 30 minutes of open wheel action. Let's see how the championship is looking right now. Wojtek Rapstin still chasing his first championship win. He's got a 1 point advantage up there at the top over Marcus Hamilton in second place. It's not much. Very easy to throw that one away, especially with a driver as talented as Marcus Hamilton nipping at his heels. Savidovic is in third place rather. He is 30 points behind, and don't count him out. A last minute push with 3 rounds to go could see him with another title. The championship, something he is acutely familiar with as well. Tom Ward in 4th place there, Richard Avery 5th, George Lambert 6th, and then we're getting down to the point where these guys don't really have a chance of winning, so they're just scrapping amongst themselves for the final positions there. Stuart Adcock 7th, then Dominic Brennan, Alex Gillen and Martin Peck share 9th place as Martin Peck continues to rise through the rankings after not starting right at the beginning of this season. Clive Armstrong is there in 11th, Jamie Bird 12th, shared with George Wright, who will score no more points this season, so he'll continue to drop down. Mark Mercer 14th, and Rob Green and Clark Williams are sharing that 15th place right now. Graham Carroll and Keith Sharp and Paul Grillo, who again isn't taking part in the full season, but good to have him back in the championship nonetheless. Rich Jones and Robert Plumley share 20th place. Sports Interactive driver having to share those 20th place with the Team Castrol driver. James Child is in 22nd, and returning Blake Townend has scored a good few points already to put him up to 23rd. Too late to do anything about the top of the championship. Jonathan Maycock and then Tim Adcock. Steve Hefford doing well in 26th. Alan Patterson having a great season there in 22 points in 27th place. Peter Cowan and Mark O'Connell share 28th. Then 30th is Sebastian Job, Raymond Norris and Brendan O'Brien. A quick look at the team championship then. Racing Game Show and Friction Racing are really the only two teams who are in this. 341 and 319 points respectively. GR Legends are only on 141. I say only, it's still an achievement to score that many, but there's no chance of them taking the title or anyone else further down. They will have to scrap it out with Ninja Racing for 3rd place, and then from there Club 100 Semi-Pros having a great season, overtaking PH Racing, and GR Masters dropping down a little bit, but Team Castrol are on the rise in 8th place there. Club 100 Racing relegated all the way down to 9th place, unfortunately for them. Top Speed, then Sports Interactive, and Radicals Racing scoring some points thanks to Blake Townend there, moving into 12th place. No Grip, and then Team Noob, Zen Software Racing, and SS Racing, the last team to score points in this championship at the moment. 9 rounds down rather. This is round 10. 2 more to come after this one. Let's go over to the circuit, see how these guys are doing in this challenging qualifying session. Not the longest track in the world, but plenty of tricky places on it nonetheless. We've got about 10 minutes of qualifying to go. Let's try and get some positions up there on your screen. Tom Ward holding the pole position at the moment with a 121.5. It's a good enough time. Stuart Adcock in 2nd there is about 10th and a half behind. Richard Avery not far behind that as well. Then the PH Racing guys of Mercer and Grillo. Rapstin only managing 6th at the moment, still plenty of time to go. Hamilton in 7th. Rapstin will want to out-qualify Hamilton no matter what the cost. If the two of them don't make it to the front of the grid, not really a huge problem. If Rapstin qualifies behind Hamilton, then he's going to have some work to do to keep him behind in the championship. Don Brennan there in 8th place. Graham Carroll, who we saw doing very well out there on the circuit at Mid-Ohio a couple of rounds ago. Oh, and a change there. Mark Mercer moves into the lead. 121.4. Great lap from Mark Mercer there. So he is the new pole sitter at the moment. There he is, the PH Racing driver. Graham Carroll, yes, so he was doing extremely well at Mid-Ohio. Hoping to see some more of him out on the circuit today in a decent position. And just having a quick look for any new drivers. We've got a few new drivers out there this time round. Some new faces join us in Championship each week. Always good to see. And let's have a look. Chris Hansen, currently sitting in 31st with a 126, 125. Beg his pardon. So a little bit of work to do for Chris. And Derek Jones, I don't believe we've seen Derek Jones out on the circuit before, currently running in 20th place. He is on a 122.8 right now. So the top 20 are separated by about 1.4 seconds. It's pretty competitive. It's going to be a good number of positions you can gain just by gaining a 10th on your best time right now. Savidovic, who is definitely not a new face, is struggling at the moment. Down there in 12th place. Over the line though, a 124. It's not going to... Oh no, it's a 122, 1.8, I beg his pardon, so the timing was wrong on your screen. It's now caught up with itself, so into 7th place and ahead of his teammate. So Rapston and Hamilton down to 8th and 9th respectively right now. Looking like they might drop out of the top 10 unless they can improve on their times. But crucially, Rapston still ahead of Marcus Hamilton. See, just those two new faces that I see. Oh, Dwayne Stoddart. I don't believe we've seen Dwayne Stoddart. He's moved into 20th place since we've been talking about that. 122.7. So a top 20 start for a new driver in this championship. Not too bad. Linus Brostrom in the comments, who is not a Skip Barber driver, but he does take part in the other championships here on BSR TV. He says hi, so hello to Linus out there. If you've got any questions, comments or anything like that, or if there's anything you'd like us to ask of the drivers after the race or anything like that, do put them in the YouTube comments if you're watching live. Otherwise, just tell us what you think. Tell us what you think of BSR TV, etc. Mark Mercer, currently the pole sitter with about 7 minutes to go. Can he improve on that time? He's got a lot of traffic, but he's got his PH Racing teammate, that yellow and red Skip Barber, just behind. It's Paul Grillo there. So as we go on board with Mark Mercer, very long straight here, down to turn 1, as late on the brakes as possible. It's a nasty corner. Yeah, you want to try and keep off that curb. Mark just glancing the curb there won't hurt him too much, and getting on the power is very difficult without spinning the car round. The rear wheel drive on these temperamental at times. The second corner you want to keep as close to the inside as possible without running wide into that gravel trap on the outside. Mark just touches that with his wheel. He might get away with that one, and then into the fast right-hander, and this is almost immediately followed then by a hairpin left. Very, very late on the brake, struggling to keep that car under control round the first hairpin, the left-hander, and then into the right-hander. Crash ahead of him. He's going to have to bail this lap, I think, as he passes his contender Rapston there. Then the right-left. Keep as much speed as possible through the right-hander here as possible, and then we're back out onto the faster part of the circuit, coming to round out the lap. Really quick lap here at Summit Point, under the bridge. Dab of the brakes maybe, and then you can use a wide runoff area on the left-hand side all the way until it ends, fizzles out across the line. Mark Mercer in a 121.9, but his lap was compromised slightly, shall we say, as he lets his teammate Paul Grillo go through and give that qualifying a stab. Paul Grillo at the moment sitting in 6th, Mercer in 2nd, having been pipped to pole position there by Wojtek Savidovic. And Savidovic could mount a challenge for the title. He's only 30 points behind at the moment, don't forget, so he could catch up in theory, although he's going to be keeping his eye on his teammate Rapston and the Friction Racing driver Marcus Hamilton just behind. Where is Chris Martin today? That's a good question. He's probably off He's probably off recording something in the studio rather than joining us for the Skip Barber series, but Skip Barber regular Chris Martin not out there on the track as far as I can see. Someone who is out there on the track but struggling for pace at the moment, Ashley Blakely with Team Noob in that nice Williams themed Skip Barber. See if we can get a bit of a closer angle on that car. Not really, but never mind, none of our cameras zoom that far. There we go, with the Canon sponsorship on the side pods. It's doing well for Team Noob. Team Noob up to 14th at the moment in the team championship, although he'd like to qualify a little bit higher than 31st if possible. The points in this championship, by the way, run all the way down to 20th place, so you've got to be a top 20 finisher to score at least 1 point. As Nick McCarron joins the circuit, he is dead last at the moment because he's the first out of the he's the last out of the pits, and he's got about 4 minutes to get in a qualifying lap, including his out lap, so that's going to be a tough proposition for Nick. Nick, the composer, of course, of our intro music on the Thursday broadcast for BSR TV's coverage of the Touring Car Championship. So some drivers have other talents than just driving around in iRacing or in the real world. Clive Armstrong, 16th right now, just letting one of the SS Racing guys go through. Those purple guys, hard to miss out on the track. Not many other people have got the purple cars out there. Rapstin has got to improve on his time in the next 3 minutes. So is Hamilton, if they want to stand any chance of scoring some decent points in this race. Rapstin's still ahead of Hamilton. Neither of the pair have been able to improve their lap times so far, which aren't bad lap times, but they need to get higher up the grid. Otherwise, Savidovic is going to catch up on them. 121, 122. Oh, 121.7. Is it? Well, that display is not entirely clear, but no improvement there for Rapstin, unfortunately. Not that time round anyway. Hamilton remains behind him. And there is Marcus Hamilton coming around to complete his lap. Looks like he's doing some team drafting. I could call it drafting, he's a little bit far away. As he comes over the line, he's not going to get anywhere near that 121.9 that he needs to beat. And in fact drops out of the top 10 now as Simon Povey sneaks into position number 9 there. Carroll's up to 7th. But Marcus Hamilton, unless he can put in a great time in the next 2.5 minutes, will be starting outside the top 10. Team Noob for the win, says Jordan Richardson. Thanks for that in the comments. Not going to do much winning from 31st on the grid, unfortunately, but let's hope he can put in a blinding time before the end of the race. As Matt Dalton joins us for the last phases of qualifying. Evening, Matt.
Evening, Chris. Evening, everybody. I say Matt Dalton joins you. I'm attempting to join you, but for some reason I can't get in.
Well, you are registered for the session as a driver rather than a spectator, so that might have something to do.
Am I? Oh, God. Oops.
Unless there's, there might be more than one Matthew Dalton on iRacing, who knows?
No, there isn't. That would explain it. I don't know how that is, but I do apologise to everybody.
Down to 32nd for Ash Blakely, unfortunately for him. Nick McCarron still not managed to get in a lap. Although let's hope this is a hot lap for him, because he's gonna he might get one more in after this. Outside the top 10 then, Marcus Hamilton, championship contender, so over the line. Oh, he does improve slightly, but it's not going to be enough. He's taken almost a 10th off his time, but he's still in 11th place, so it's a long way down, Matt, for Marcus Hamilton.
That's a very long way down for Marcus Hamilton, yeah. That's not a usual place that we've become accustomed to seeing him in after recent weeks. He was trying to find a vein of form, wasn't he? He was trying unsuccessfully to chase Blake Townend down last time out at Sonoma, but needs a better result than that for the championship for sure.
No Blake this evening, so make the top 10 a little bit easier for these drivers. But Savidovic and Mercer, that old rivalry is reignited on the front row of the grid at the moment, first and second, with Mercer's teammate Grillo in 3rd place.
Yeah, good to see the boys back.
So Savidovic, who is also competing in the Touring Car Championship here on BSR TV, which is Thursdays, is showing no real signs of slowing down. And Gets that one a little bit wrong. He's going to be able to keep it off the apex as the other cars come through there, but he's showing no real signs of slowing down as a result of, you know, taking on another discipline, isn't it? It's a sign of a really sort of experienced driver who can just jump in pretty much anything and drive fast.
Yeah, that's true, and I think not only that, the amount of time these guys have spent driving the Skip Barber car probably negates the loss of what they would have in terms of competing with something else.
A new pole position as well for Richard Avery, sneaking in right at the end there, 121.3, over a tenth quicker than Savidovic's pole time there.
Top 12, all running 121s, that's going to be close, isn't it?
It's going to be extremely close. Hamilton down to 12th
Holy
place
God.
now.
And from 13th place to 30th place is only separated, 31st place is only separated by 0.9 of a second.
It's pretty incredible there. So we're just rounding out the qualifying session now. It's extremely tight at the top. A few drivers still to go round. What can Steve Hefford do? He can pull into the pits, that's what he can do. So no more time from Steve Hefford. Yeah, Alan Patterson. I don't think anyone's out on the track who's going to really stand a chance of changing this top 10, Matt. I think Avery might well have this pole position.
It looks that way. Dan Hunt, George Lambert coming through. He may improve from his 16th place.
Patterson over the line then, 124. No improvement there. Lambert, slight improvement.
Slight improvement, yeah, up to 14th.
14th. Didn't crack the top 10. Neither did Marcus Hamilton. Rapstin is in 6th place now, so there's a full 6 position difference between Rapstin and Hamilton. And Hamilton's going to need all the points he can get because they are separated by 1 point right at the top of the Drivers' Championship. It's going to make this race extremely interesting and put all the pressure on Hamilton to move forwards.
It is. This is always a great place for racing. This place is just suits the car almost perfectly, always generates good close action, and yeah, as you can see from the times in qualifying, it's going to be more than a bit nuts. And at some point, yes, and at some point the carnageometer will explode.
Well, wonder how early that might happen. Turn 1's always interesting at Summit Point, especially with 38. Skip Barber's heading down there.
Shall we jump on in last place and follow them all down and go for a back of the grid view of the carnage?
You're not serious. Oh, yeah. The camera's gone completely out of focus as well. So
I could do it as a different option for the camera, couldn't I?
Well, feel free. You have a moment or two.
Why not? We'll sit right at the back. We'll follow them down to turn 1 and we'll see how it all looks from the back.
It's the view from the back of the Skip Barber grid aboard Matthew Dalton's camera car. And you know how it went last time when we commentated one of your starts?
Well, we're not going to attempt this as a racing start. This is purely going to be as a camera start. This one is not. We're not going to be intending to get in amongst it at all.
And that's where we're expecting all the action to happen on your screen down at turn 1 there. Very long gridding procedure here. A few guys having some issues, obviously, getting down there onto the grid. Eyes on Rapstin then, who'll be starting in 6th place. There he is in the black car on the left-hand side as the drivers have it there. We've got some lights now. So here we go. Can Avery get off the line quickly enough to maintain his pole position down into turn 1? We're about to find out as round 10 is underway. Let's follow these cars down into turn 1. Good start from Savidovic. Mercer follows. Grillo behind him. Everyone trying to get that inside line, defending as much as possible. Savidovic switches over to the other side. Let's go over to...
that looks fairly manic in front of me.
Let's go over to Dalton's car for a live turn 1.
They're all through fairly cleanly, though. I mean, well done to all the guys.
Wasn't quite as interesting as I'd hoped, but never mind. Oh, there's a little bit of gravel kicking up just in front, but everybody through so far. Avery leads from Savidovic, from Mercer. A couple of guys hitting that gravel trap on the outside there. Avery's going to struggle to keep in front of this extremely fierce competition behind him, isn't he?
Yeah, it's going to take some serious effort, and these guys are going to be chopping and changing places for a long time yet.
And we often see incidents down here. Oh, we've got a car going wide there, not sure who that is. And everybody's still through. clean. We had a couple of guys just drifting off the circuit, but managing to get back on. And 19 laps around here. Surely it can't stay this clean.
No, no chance.
Avery has it then after 1 lap, and his pulse is going to be racing at the moment. He's got former champions Savidovic and Mercer behind, potential champion Rapstin behind him, and we've lost Antoniades. He's off. Fahim Antoniades. Oh, he's actually spun off on the entrance of the pit lane, which almost took out our camera car. And let's go back and find out what happened to him. It's just a moment ago with Fahim Antoniades. Just we'll go back a little bit further on that one, I think, because we didn't quite catch all the build up to that.
Oh, bit of contact at the front as well. We've lost, I think that was Rapstin has hit somebody.
Well, Rapstin is dropping down. Could this be it for Rapstin? Is he out? He's got no nose on that car. Looks like the end for Rapstin. I think it might well be.
It looks that way.
On board with Wojtek Rapstin. Oh, he's got on the grass by himself. Full counter lock. I do think he's got on the grass. He's just clipped that tyre barrier.
No, I think Paul Grillo has squeezed him a little bit, and then from there he's had, yeah, he's just lost it, possibly with some suspension damage.
Well, let's have another look from the overhead camera. He's getting squeezed on the inside. A little bit of wheel contact with Paul Grillo. Didn't quite leave him enough room, but there must have been some damage on that car after the Grillo contact. The driver behind him did so well to keep out of the way. Is that his teammate Savidovic?
Could well be, yeah. I don't think he's yeah, no, I don't think he's overly impressed either. I gotta be honest.
Well, Grillo gave him the squeeze. Rapstin was moved right over to the edge of the track and couldn't really get out of the way anymore. So it looks like that damage has cost Rapstin any points in this race. Meanwhile, Marcus Hamilton is in 10th place.
Well, that'll be enough in terms of points to close the gap up, won't it?
Well, he'll overtake and more. Obviously, any more positions that Hamilton can gain in this race, he will.
Oh, a bit more contact further back there. I think that's Hulbert and that is Tom Ward. Just tangling a little bit there. Is that tricky left-hander?
Tom Ward currently running in 5th place. Savidovic has got past Avery in the meantime to take the lead, so Avery's running 2nd at the moment. We were quite impressed, Avery, last time we spoke about him at Mid-Ohio, weren't we?
Yeah, he's very, very quick, isn't he?
I think he came together with Savidovic in that particular race, and that ended his race through no fault of his own. But
yep.
He'll have that one in the back of his mind.
Yeah, he's a guy who's been on iRacing for quite a long time, but doesn't tend to, or hasn't tended to run the UK and I events up until now, so it's always good to see some new faces, especially when they turn up and they're that fast, so...
Especially as the same can be said of Dominic Brennan, who's currently running 9th and has made a good attempt at this championship this season. He's on board with Tom Ward, heading on to lap 4. Unintended rhyme there, sorry about that. And 5th place for Tom Ward. He's going to struggle to keep with these leaders unless they're scrapping it out like this, in which case he might well stay with them.
Which they will be at some point for quite a long time. But Simon Hulbert possibly carrying a little bit of damage. He looks to be struggling a little bit.
Avery down the inside of Savidovic into turn 3. Oh, Savidovic going to have to... Oh, it's contact. Savidovic, the front of his car, just keeps it out of the tyre barrier. Oh,
yeah,
it was so close.
I think Hulbert had some damage as well because he's disconnected. Driven off and into the barriers, so that's... I think that's an intentional thing, though. He's trying to get out of the way.
Well, let's go back and have another look at that one then, if we possibly can. Where is
I think he was...
oh.
He's disconnected, yeah. I think that was possibly he had some damage from the earlier contact with Tom Ward into turn 3. I know he wasn't overly impressed. He's putting some feisty messages up.
It just does look like he's... oh, nasty impact for Simon Hulbert. I think he's actually left the racing surface altogether. Looks like he's done that on his own.
Yeah, that was him disconnecting. The damage already done from that earlier contact with Tom Ward, I think, and...
Oh, Savidovic,
yeah, judging
way
from
off
some
into
of the
the
messages,
gravel.
Judging from some of his messages, he's got a head like a bulldog chewing a wasp at the minute.
Well, Savidovic is struggling to keep control of that car, and I'm wondering if he might have picked up some damage already as well. Tom Ward, right on the back of Savidovic's car there, and Avery, well, it was a controversial way to retake the lead. He got himself into such a good position down the inside, and then, well, I would have imagined he thought he would have cleared Savidovic, and the opposite was true. Savidovic was off through the gravel, and possibly some frontal damage on that car. There's a bit of a battle going on behind, isn't there? Stuart Adcock looking to get past Simon Povey, and he's got Don Brennan right on his heels, and Hamilton's up to 9th as well.
Yep, shades of Vettel and Alonso there with those two elbows out.
Indeed. Graham Carroll, who I was talking about before the race, saying he's hoping to see a good race from him because he's very impressive, is in 10th place right now, right behind.
Tim Adcock just made a mistake as well and ran wide, going into that hairpin.
Well, now we saw Antoniades earlier spinning off the track. Looks like he got away without any damage because he's still going, but he's in 32nd place at the moment. Where is Tim Adcock in the standings? He is in 17th, very wide from Carroll there. You can get away with a little bit of gravel action in these cars.
Yep, Chris Hansen at the back has just lost it as well onto the grass.
It's a shame for Chris Hansen. He was looking forward to a career after the boy band, but maybe not to be. Just lost it on his own, unfortunately.
Yeah, not with that haircut.
And does a sensible thing, keeps it out of the way whilst all the other cars go by. He's still going, no damage, so he'll get back up to speed. Mercer has the lead from Avery, meanwhile. We missed that one. Avery's...
Marcus Hamilton, meanwhile, is in the middle of World War IV in this group. He's got guys throwing at cars at each other left, right and centre, and that, for a guy who just needs to pick up points, that's not going to be a massively comfortable situation to be in.
Well, Brennan just behind him in that red car has been forced out wide and given up the position to Simon Povey, who's just up, to Graham Carroll, I beg your pardon, just up in front. Povey in the purple machine just ahead of Hamilton is his next target. Hamilton is lapping marginally faster. Oh, we got a car off in the background. That's Don Brennan. We lost Don Brennan.
That's a big name.
Well, it looks like...
Front five look to have made a little bit of a split, don't they? But then again, we've seen that if they start tangling it with each other and overtaking each other, that's going to allow these guys behind them to close right up again as well.
Have another look at that one from the overhead. I'm not sure entirely what went on there. Just a little twitch. He's done that to himself.
Richard Avery just squeezed Mark Mercer very hard in turn 1.
And gets through, in fact. So Avery back into the lead. Mark Mercer might be a little bit...
Vettled.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Which you've just invented.
He overtook me!
Well, we'll see how he reacts. We're on lap 7 out of 19, so plenty more racing to come here. Paul Grillo...
We're allowed to encourage the wrath of Red Bull Racing by saying that was absolutely pathetic for a 4-time world champion. We're allowed to do that?
Well...
Just did.
Don't think anyone from Red Bull Racing is likely to be watching PSR TV. I could be wrong.
It doesn't really. It's not their fault, is it?
No, they don't know what they're missing, to be honest. Oh, a bit of contact from Blakely just as we switched to him with is that Alan Patterson? Let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay.
Could well be. His top 5 are just holding station quite well at the minute, and it is gapping the guys behind.
Now, was that contact from Blakely? We couldn't quite see on that camera angle, but either way, Patterson goes around. Blakely moves up to 20th place in the final point scoring position. Patterson gets it back on the track, so he's still going.
Mark Mercer goes round the outside of Richard Avery into turn 1. That's an impressive move.
And now Avery under threat from Grillo, although Grillo's got the disadvantage of the outside line here.
Adcock, Povey and Hamilton 3 wide into that corner's not going to work, boys. Hamilton lifts out sensibly. That was never going to go well for him if he tried to stick his nose in there.
Well, here we are on board with Marcus Hamilton in 8th place right now. He's got 2 cars right up in front of him. Povey is his next target, as we mentioned before. Well, he must know that Rapston's out of the race, so he doesn't need to push that hard, surely.
How many points behind is he?
1.
Yeah, see, yeah, if you had team radio right now, you'd be screaming in his ear, wouldn't you? Be careful.
Well, indeed, but he's part of this battle. He's got Graham Carroll right behind him and George Lambert behind him as well. It's hard for him to back out, and he has worked his way up from 12th to 8th so far. Very poor qualifying from Hamilton.
Yeah, well, and there is the school of thought, isn't there, that says that you have to just go out and drive and do your own race regardless, and drive the way you always would, because if you start trying to be conservative and change things up, you know, you're going to induce problems for yourself. So, lead change at the front again. Paul Grillo dived up the inside of Mark Mercer. Richard Avery gets on the back of him.
Oh, and Mark Mercer's not going to be pleased with that one, surely.
Yeah, it's not over
yet.
Look
how close this is. And there's Paul Grillo.
Drafted him.
Avery, I think, has done the sensible thing and let the two teammates scrap it out. Oh, Grillo's gone very wide. Mark Mercer has the lead, but at what cost? Avery now trying to go around the outside of Grillo. Too wide into this corner is not going to be easy. Down the inside for Richard Avery.
Big Wad's chucking the elbows out as usual as well, trying to go around the outside of all of them.
It gives him a good line into this next corner. They're inches apart on the circuit. Mark Mercer's trying to get away here.
But just look behind him now. Stuart Adcock, Simon Povey, Marcus Hamilton will all be sat there right now going, thanks boys, that's more of that please. Right back within drafting range.
Well, speaking of drafting range, here comes Tom Ward. He's going to have to make sure he gets on the brakes a little bit earlier than Savinovic and get a better exit. Will be able to draft the former champion down the start-finish straight, and that's what he's going for here. But he's so close at the front, and these guys are catching up because just look at that. There's about 12 cars all in a big long line there.
There's now the top 5 has now become a top 10, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, Tom Ward, that's getting a little bit loose next to Savinovic there.
Well, he's really throwing caution to the wind in an attempt to get into 4th place here, Tom Ward. He's fought long and hard to get up to that position, the striking distance, and they have to be buying some more bags of gravel for that trap, I think, after the race. There's a number of drivers going through that.
Interesting to see if any of these guys start falling foul of incident points. There is an incident point limit, I believe, isn't there?
There is. I believe it's just the standard 17 for the race. 5th place for Tom Ward. He has Stuart Adcock right behind him, but the big concern, at least in the commentary box, is Marcus Hamilton, because how many points can he put in front of Rapstin? Neither of those two drivers have won the championship before, to my reckoning, so it'll be a new champion no matter what, unless Savinovic slips in there and wins it somehow. Well, Rapstin has been the favourite for most of the season, so he'd be incredibly disappointed. Oh, Antonides, have we lost Antonides? I think he's gone. Might have fallen foul of the incident limit like we were talking about. But Rapstin will feel like he's more deserving of it, having led for longer.
Yeah, but we've said this for the last few weeks now. Rapstin is certainly quick, but he's a little wild, isn't he? And he does tend to just put the car in some positions that are a tad compromised, and that's not going to win you championships, because you're always going to get more risk at that point of picking up damage and things like that, and that's what's happened to him today. So if he can cut down the eagerness, shall we say, then I think he'll win it. But until he can do that, he's always going to have problems, and he's going to have to win races to make up for that.
Well, advantage to Marcus Hamilton if he can stay in this race for another 8 laps. He is up to 7th place now, having leapfrogged Simon Povey, who is down to 8th, as you can see on your screen there. There's the positions after 11 laps, and Graham Carroll's still holding on there in 9th place, so good for him. Steve Hefford up to 11th, doing a very good job. It's higher than we normally see him.
He's had a bit of a good run the last few weeks. I think he's finally clicked something with this car.
Indeed, he is 8 seconds behind the lead pack, but the lead pack being kept together arguably by all of this close action, the drafting here. Meanwhile, Tom Ward down to 6th position in the background there. Avery, goes in the back of Mercer. Mercer's round. Avery has gone into the back of Mark Mercer. Looks like he survived as well. Oh, that's not good. Mark Mercer is back on the circuit. How much damage to both of those cars?
Not overly happy either.
No, I can imagine. Let's go back and have another look at that one from Mark Mercer's point of view here.
It's I don't think he's too far. How far back is he? He's a couple of seconds. I don't know. These guys start tangling up again, though. He still might make that gap up a little bit.
So, well, both drivers doing pretty well to get back on the circuit. nice and quickly, but it looks like Richard Avery was to blame there going into the back of him. I can't think of any reason why Mercer would have braked early there. Grillo now leads this race from Savidovic.
No, I think Richard's just got a bit of the red mist and has got in a bit hot there, isn't he?
Well, I tell you what, let's have a look at the front of Avery's car. This is back from Savidovic. He maintains his front wing, which you normally wouldn't expect to happen in a collision like that. But that could be significant.
Could. Yep. Graham Carroll and George Lambert having a good little scrap at the back there. Marcus Hamilton, meanwhile, just sitting impatiently, isn't he? Doing the right things, just trying to take his time, pick his way through. Got his teammate in front of him, so that should be relatively safe.
Well, we've seen Tom Ward slip back a couple of places, but he's jumped back to 5th now, thanks to Mark Mercer's demise. I say demise, he's only down to 10th. And all of those drivers going right off into the gravel there. They've got to be careful of these incident points. We've got 19 laps, so if you were to do that every lap, you'd be disqualified from just that alone. Yep.
Mark Mercer, meanwhile, is already up onto the back of George Lambert on the back of that grid. He is somewhat driving angry.
And he's going to be looking to get as many positions back as possible. We've seen a few frayed nerves in this race so far. Oh, Antoniades is back out on the circuit again to 29th. These drivers just need to sort of... You said it before the race, didn't you? That there's going to be some carnageometer action.
Yeah.
All right.
Mark Mercer would be like a chinchilla eating, I don't know, habaneros at the minute. He's jumping up and down and not overly amused. I think it's the red mist. You can almost see it in the way he's driving the car. The red mist steaming out the ears at the moment.
Well, we can't quite see it through the helmet. That yellow helmet of Mark Mercer. But he is completely focused now on getting as many positions back before the end of the race, and he's got 5 laps to do it. He is 6.5 seconds behind the lead, and it's remarkable to me that only cost him 6.5 seconds, that collision, unless he's made that up. Oh, Savidovic, what's happened to Savidovic? He's off. Savidovic is off.
Did he have some contact there? Has he picked up some damage?
Let's go back and have another look at that one on the previous lap. Avery down the inside of Savidovic into turn 1. Now, is there any contact there? Yes, there is. Avery makes contact with Savidovic twice. So, front and rear damage to Savidovic's car there. He is completely out of control from this point on, I think. Oh no, he gets it back on the circuit, but I think he's realised now that there's too much damage on that car to continue.
Well,
pulls it off.
He's a one-man wrecking ball today, isn't he?
Well, difficult to call that one. Those two very, very close to one another.
No, not accusing anybody of anything, but I'm just saying he is
well, that's
been
in
and amongst it in the big incidents, isn't he, for definite?
And has maintained his position all the way through. So, Savidovic's chances are now blown, along with his teammate Rapstin. So, that means that Hamilton will be gaining points on both of those right at the top of the table, and he's up to 6th place.
I was going to say perhaps Rapstin is he's not going to be overly amused. Perhaps Marcus Hamilton slipped him a fiver and offered to take him out for dinner or something. He's doing Marcus Hamilton's championship a ton of favours here, and the more of these guys that go off, the happier he'll be. And like I say, he's doing exactly the right things. He's sitting at the back. I'm not sure he's got the pace to challenge, to be honest, but either way, he's just sitting at the back, nice and patiently, not getting himself in and amongst it, and he's going to pick up a crap ton of points for the championship, yeah.
2 rounds to go after this one as well, so if Hamilton can finish highly in those 2 and finish 6th here, he's pretty much sealed the deal. Still a long way to go, still a lot to ask of these guys.
No, nothing ridiculous like double points for the last round, is there?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No, only a buffoon would think of such an idea as that.
Here we are, 2nd place Avery with Stuart Adcock right behind him. Adcock's having a great race in 3rd place.
He is. Top of the Cox as well.
Yes, his Adcock teammate is in 16th place. The drafting effect will get Stuart Adcock around, but is it going to do enough? Because Avery's defending already. Well, Adcock's gone all the way around him.
Now, Richard Avery's let him have that one. I was going to say, is he going to get the Avery treatment there? But no, all very well behaved.
So Stuart Adcock up to second, Richard Avery down to third. Tom Ward meanwhile moves past into fourth place, Povey behind him, and then Hamilton sixth. Mercer though has got past George Lambert into eighth place.
Tell you what, mind, he's got a shot at the win here, isn't he, Stuart Adcock?
He's not far behind Paul Grillo now, and lapping considerably faster with 3 laps to go. I'm on board with the Ninja Racing driver now. What can he realistically do from here? I mean, Paul Grillo's a tough nut to crack.
Is he Brazil?
I think he might well be. That's not actually a nut, is it? I thought it was a seed.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It's a Brazil nut, but it's not actually a nut, is it?
Well, the wealth of facts that you learn here on BSR TV never ends.
BSR trivia.
Exactly. Join us for more on Thursdays with Adam Bath, who knows every fact there is going. Adcock.
Grillo a little bit wide again there.
Yeah, these guys are really got to be
coming under
careful.
some pressure, isn't he?
Adcock's got to be careful of running through this incident point limit. Well, they
They all have. Yeah. You got to wonder how close they're getting to that.
Well, they will use it as well. They will game it, as it were. Oh, Graham Carroll goes past Marcus Hamilton, in fact, down into turn 1, takes 6th place. Bold move to take on the would-be champion there. Marcus Hamilton's looking to come back now. And he is down the inside into 3. It is turn 3, by the way, and it sounds stupid those are 1 and 2, but it is just one corner. Anyway, Graham Carroll just about loses out. So Hamilton back into 6th place.
That slowed those two up considerably, mind, doesn't it? That's allowed this top 5 to get away again. So we're back to a top 5. Who's your money on you?
I don't think Adcock can do it.
Coming up to 2 laps to go.
I don't think Adcock can do it. I think this might be Grillo's race, but it's hard to call.
No, I think Stu Adcock will throw a dive bomb because he hasn't got anything to lose, unlike these guys. These guys perhaps are all around him. Maybe Tom Ward hasn't, but have all won a Skip Barber race at some point. Stu, I don't think, has. If I had to put money on the long distance, chuck the car at somebody and see what happens past the Maldonado move, I'd be putting my money on Stu Adcock.
Oh, Avery side by side with Simon Povey down into turn 1. They both survive this time. Simon Povey, has he got the grunt to get up the inside?
He's not afraid to get the elbows out, mind Richard Avery, is he?
No, absolutely not. Povey down the inside, will take that position, moves up to 3rd place.
Oh, Tom Ward spins.
4th. Oh! Well, we completely missed that. And he gets it back on the track, but it's shedding places there. And that was right behind what we were looking at there. Just through this corner here. Wow, I don't think there was contact there, was there?
No, I think he just lost out on his own.
There's the view from on board as we're side by side, and well, I think, yeah, oh, so close, inches apart. He just didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, Avery was taking up the whole track, although you could say Ward probably should have backed out knowing that that would happen.
It just happens, doesn't it? Racing, isn't it? You're not going to want to lift off. You're not here to make friends, you're here to go and win. Here we go, Stu Adcock on Paul Grillo, picking up the draft, going down towards turn 1. Paul is going to hug that inside.
Well, this is the last lap now.
Like it's his favourite teddy bear, and he doesn't want to let it go. But I think Adcock has got him.
Adcock turns in.
He's got
keeping it very wide though.
No, he's just let it run too wide there. Yeah, he's a little bit too generous.
He's not going to get inside for turn 3.
Yeah, he is. He's going to have a go. No. Okay, sensible. Yeah.
Oh, it's so close.
Hold station.
These guys.
So now he's going to have to deal with Povey.
Has Grillo done enough to hold on to this in the final lap? It's versus Adcock, Povey and Avery. Don't forget who's in 4th. Adcock looks to... he can't make it work down the inside there. Not enough straight to make that happen.
No, I think he was just a little too kind to him in turn 1, wasn't he?
Just went a little bit wide. Maybe he was too late on the brakes there rather than deliberately being kind.
Yeah, I think he just left him too much room.
So Paul Grillo, 1 corner to go. Can he hold on till the end of this race to take his victory Stuart Adcock would love to be on the top spot of that podium, but it won't happen. Paul Grillo holds on. He's going to win. Summit Point, round 10 of the Skip Barber Series. Stuart Adcock second, Simon Povey third, Richard Avery fourth, and Marcus Hamilton comes home in 5th place, ahead of Graham Carroll and Mark Mercer. Oh, a huge celebration crash, shall we say, from Marcus Hamilton. We're seeing that one again, that's for sure. They take a whole load of points there for Marcus Hamilton, and extend his lead at the top of the championship, or retake the lead, should I say.
Extremely useful points, and
straight through the tree as well. Very acrobatic from Marcus Hamilton.
Good little scrap coming through at the back here with Ellis, Dan Hunt and Jamie Bird. Just to give a shout out to the Snails, guys at the back.
This is currently for 22nd place.
All of whom are quicker than me and Skip Barber, I should say.
Well, 22nd place is still up for grabs. Dan Hunt's lost it. He was in the middle of that pack, and that's Dan Hunt's race.
He's trying to be a bit too aggressive on Ellis Stevens there and pays the ultimate price. Teflon Stevens gets away with another one.
Stevens will take 22nd and Jamie Bird will take 23rd just behind him. No points on offer really, it's just for prestige at this position in the rankings. So the results then up on your screen right now. Grillo, Adcock, Povey, Avery. I did say before the race finished I thought Grillo might hold on, but it was by no means a certain thing. Hamilton 5th.
Cocky little devil, you.
Graham I just sort of rub it in, but in a subtle way, you know. Graham Carroll 6th, Mark Mercer 7th, Ward, Lambert, and then Clive Armstrong takes the final top 10 spot there. Good drive from him. I tell you what,
that's some celebration, isn't it? For Marcus Hamilton as he crossed the line.
A fantastic, celebration. It's not the best position to put a grass hill, I don't think, on the circuit. At least not without a concrete barrier in front of it.
He's going to need an oxygen mask to recover from that one, isn't he?
Well, Hefford doing extremely well. Took 11th place. Congratulations to him. And finishing ahead of his Castrol teammate Robert Plumley, who you'd normally associate with being higher up the grid. So O'Connell there 12th, Everest 13th, Adcock, Jones, Newman, and then Plumley, and then Ash Blakely with a great result, 18th place, taking a good few points for Team Noob there. And Jonas van Waverka, I guess, in 19th place. And, what do you think other people do? Do you think like when Chinese people commentate on English people, they butcher the names?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I always wondered that.
It'll be Paul F. Guillo.
Guillo. Yeah, well, it's a good win from Guillo at the end of the day.
Flight lights.
Two more races to go before the end of the season. Can Hamilton hold on is a question. He will have about 15-point advantage by now in the championship, to be confirmed, but around that sort of level. So he's going to need two fairly good finishers to put it out of Rapston's hands, isn't he?
He is, but Rapston we know is going to be at the sharp end. I mean, we know he might be a little bit wild. We do give him a little bit of stick for that, but he is very, very quick. He's going to be at the sharp end. He's going to be at the front. Marcus Hamilton, perhaps if he wants to win this championship and put it beyond dispute, needs to get ahead of him and, beat him on the track rather than relying on mistakes from him. So it's certainly going to be interesting for the rest of the season, especially if these quick boys keep turning up.
And it will be nice to see it come down to the final race, just for the viewers, more than the drivers, who will be biting their fingernails off and possibly other body parts. But it would be...
nobody cares about the drivers, it's all about the viewers, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So it would be nice to see it come down to the very last race. Hamilton could seal the deal next time with a poor result from Rapston. But we've got 2 races left, so hopefully we'll have 2 competitive races.
Where are we next?
The next race of the Skip Barber series will be taking place at, it'll be around 11 from Bathurst. And then the final race is Circuit of the Americas in 2 weeks' time.
That'll be an interesting one. Never been near with the Skip Barbers. That'll be interesting to see how they go. Bathurst, Bloodbath on the Mountain is what that one will be.
Yeah, Bathurst. Yeah, so we've seen the skippies there before, and it's very tricky to keep them under control coming down the other side of the mountain. So
Yeah.
whoever can do that best, and I seem to remember a number of drivers having problems, especially around some of the trickier corners at Bathurst. High attrition rate.
Yep. Well, I mean, we've seen with this race, you've got a gap of about 2.5 seconds from first place to last in terms of qualifying. Bathurst, you'll see a gap of about 2.5 minutes from front to the back, because the super fast guys there really show that they're super fast, and the guys who aren't super fast really can't get anywhere near them.
And the lap length is double, obviously. Much longer track. So that's to look forward to next week here on BSR TV. And Thursday will be nearing the conclusion, the same point in the season for the Touring Car Championship, the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship to be precise. That's 3 rounds on Thursday. And that as well as coming at you from Bathurst. Pure coincidence there, same circuit. Hope you can join us for those 3. Who's going to win that one then, Matt?
No idea. And I wouldn't like to make any predictions either.
Well, big, heavy touring cars, completely different proposition. That's live from 8:15 in the evening, UK time on Thursday. And then the Skip Barber back again, 8:40 Monday, a week from now, 14th of July, for the Bathurst round 11. So from me and Matt in the commentary room, thanks very much for joining us this evening, and we'll see you next time.